One other one I want to mention here in the ACC before we move out of that conference. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets pay a visit to a team that they've enjoyed playing over the last couple of years. Doesn't matter where they're ranked, if they're ranked, doesn't matter. Georgia Tech finds ways to win and against that team. They do it this year with another power rushing attack, just like they did last year. 371 yards rushing. Jamal Haynes caps this one off with a 68-yard touchdown run with about 40 seconds to go in this one. It felt like this game was destined for overtime. We were going to have another overtime game to talk about, but not the case. Georgia Tech, they get the win. And look, this was one of those things. It's Georgia Tech let North Carolina back in this game because for some reason they started trying to throw the ball around. And that happened in like around the third quarter. Haynes King does get hurt in this game, still pending comments there. That's going to be a very important injury to follow for Georgia Tech fans and for people in our market here in Atlanta. But when you're able to run the ball that effectively, nothing else really matters. You're chunking these guys on the ground. Jamal Haynes was doing it. Haynes King was doing it. Chad Alexander added 61 yards. You have two guys going over the 100-yard mark. I mean, everything was looking. We also saw we got a sighting of Luke Harpring, a tight end, the freshman from Marist here in the Atlanta area too. So he's a legacy Georgia Tech kid. But I will say this about North Carolina as well. Omarion Hampton is the truth. That guy is special. You have a couple of penalties that pull back big running plays for Omarion Hampton. He very easily could have gone over the 200-yard mark in this game. I know he's sitting at the 137 mark, but this team goes down and they still have to give him the ball because he's that good. He is their best form of offense. And if you're in North Carolina, you need something else on this team, especially if you have a defense that's not going to give you much of a chance. It just feels like it's coming up to the end of the road for Mac Brown, but huge credit to Omarion Hampton. That dude is very good. Lots of very fun rushing numbers here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I don't know what North Carolina is doing. When Haynes King goes down, there's no threat of Georgia Tech throwing the ball. How you can give up a 68-yard touchdown run with less than 30 seconds remaining in this game is astonishing. It really is. And you're right. It looked like after that field goal with 44 seconds left for North Carolina, it looked like we were headed to overtime. They weren't going to throw the ball. Like at no point were they throwing the ball. And so the fact that Haynes can find a gap and take it, it was a thrilling finish. It was fun finish that probably not a lot of people saw or were aware of. It avoided overtime, and most importantly, it allowed Georgia Tech to cover. But yeah, a fun finish. But man, like what are they doing? And we all know the answer. The former Georgia Tech head coach, like, bro, how do you let that happen? So that was neither here nor there. Hoping obviously for the best of Haynes King. I think this Georgia Tech offense very clearly needs him, and they're going to have a real issue if he's out for an extended period.
Yeah, the Haynes King injury is huge. That's huge. He is the cog in that machine on offense, and if especially with the schedule that Georgia Tech has coming up, you look at what they have next week. It's Notre Dame at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and then you're down the stretch. It's tough. And if Haynes King is not a part of this team, I have a lot of questions about what Georgia Tech's going to be able to do down the stretch.